Hello, everyone. Welcome to Simply Scrappy. Thanks for joining me. It is Wednesday, and we are going to work on hacking page kit number 1. And I just realized that the graphic leading this video is wrong. I'll have to edit that out because it says 2, but we are on page kit number 1. It's a little confusing because we started last week with the advisor exclusive kit, and now we are starting with number 1. They will launch 1 per month, except that they gave us the entire quarter 1 bundle. So a lot of you already have all 3, and we'll work our way through the first one today. So I'm gonna get set up here. I'm gonna have the I was looking through my photos. And I was like, oh, it's time to go live for what I'm actually going to use when we hack it. How many of you bought the whole bundle? Are you planning on making all of them this year? They are definitely easy, great to have. So thanks for joining me. Let me know in the chat where you're coming in from. So as a reminder, this will end up on my blog. I've already started the handout. This will get uploaded to the blog once I have the pictures from what we create today. So like I was saying, we have, this is the Simple Page Kit bundle. It came with the folders and the 3 kits and the little mini embellishments. If you missed this, I think I am sold. I'm still trying to sort out what came home with me from my retreat. It's possible I have one more. I got to get through everything shipping first. But Creative Memories is bringing back the full bundle. I do have this page kit we're working on today. I do have that on my website available. I think it's sold out online also. They will be reprinting that one also. So over the weekend at my retreat, I went ahead and opened them and slid them in their little folders. And so today I don't have pictures for this one, so I'll probably just slide it back in the folder. Yeah, some of you probably ordered them for me and you're waiting on them. That with a long weekend, I host my retreat, and then I came back and I had quite a bit waiting on me to ship. And then Creative Memories was a little bit delayed last week, sending all the birthday stuff. So that showed up Friday while I was already at my retreat. So I did come home and try to ship what I could on Saturday morning before I went back. I had quite a list ready to go. So I'm pulling out my trimmers. That's all that you need for page kit number 1, along with some tape. Hopefully I have enough tape in there. It is not snowy here. I am quite astounded by the snow that people got down south. We haven't had snow now for a week and a half or so, which is fine with me. We actually were able to get a warm day over the weekend, so most of it melted, which was helpful to get a little bit more access to my mailbox, which is what I wanted. It's very cold here. As many of you, we were sub-zero temps, and so the kids have been operating on a 2-hour delay yesterday and today, which is very nice. A lot of you know that Max the cat wakes me up too early, and so I usually go back to bed, and it was nice to actually be able to sleep and not have to wake up again right away to send the kids off. So if you got the bundle, you get the mini embellishment, or you can also buy this with me from the mini embellishment. The theme of this one is Happy New Year or celebration or cheers. Of course, you can or cannot use whatever stickers might apply. We have their basic cut guide, but we know that it doesn't really give us dimensions or measurements for the base papers because they already come printed, which is very nice and very helpful. This one is kind of a deluxe printing. It has all of it. And so we have 1 sheet here to print. They are able to print multiple prints on their 1 sheet, which is why when we hack this, we will use several more papers than they do. So our first step to put this kit together is to cut this one apart. It was interesting at my retreat. I feel like we've talked about this enough, but there still were people at the retreat that didn't realize we have these sightline guides. So as a reminder, sometimes we are told things, but then we forget. We just get too much information at once. But here's a reminder that has the sight guides, these little plastic things that pull up or down from your trimmer, and they help you know exactly where you are cutting. So when we go to cut something apart like this paper, especially on the front, we could flip it over and cut along the lines, but as we know, sometimes that line offers a little bit of variation. So when I am cutting across the print, I do like to use the sight lines, and I cut from the top. So I'm really trying to make sure I cut right along that print. Otherwise, I'm going to have the print or the solid on one side or the other. And I will need to cut this in half. I probably should have cut it in half before I flipped it. You can see, you can probably tell. So I did that. I mean, you can see a little bit of solid. I might have to clean it up. We'll see. You can see on the back that it's slightly to the line. These are just challenging sometimes to truly cut between the prints. This gives us our skinny strips. And now we can follow the lines on the back. It's fun hearing you guys talk about your snow in the chat, and all the more reason to have, now you have a reason to use all the winter collections, because isn't that the first thought that all of you had when you heard you're going to get snow, is that you can scrapbook it? That's what I would be thinking. So cutting these pieces apart is pretty basic, but this is what happens sometimes. We need to clean up our edge. I cut along the line, but it's slightly off. So I can see a little bit of that white. You can also use your paper trimmer if you want a little bit more control on that. And then you can use scissors on the back to cut our banner tag. Yeah, Cindy, these kits were confusing. They came out with Noteworthy, and every time I make the graphics, I get a little like, do I put noteworthy or not noteworthy? Last year they were all This Life, but we didn't refer to them as This Life Simple Page Kits. They were just Simple Kit 1, 2, 3. And now that we have a whole nother set and a whole nother year, I'm like, do we need to put 25? Do I need to say noteworthy? How are we going to differentiate year to year with the collections? We have the Noteworthy collection, the Simple Page Kit #1, and the Advisor exclusive page kit that you could only get through an advisor. It was all very confusing, took a little bit to sort out. So these are our pieces. Now we can build our pages. Yeah, Carla's saying she can use her snowman punch. So all of you that bought all these snow things all along the way have a reason. Are any of you going to get out and actually build snowmen? Work with them. We're going to lay out our base pages, and then if you have this, you can see kind of their guide. They'll show you where to put the pieces. On the left side, they are just doing photo holders, so 4x6 photos. And then piece number 4 is the mat and the little journal box banner at the bottom. And that'll be photo, photo. And on this side, we have 4-inch. I think it's 4.5 inch. And then the other mat. And then, oh, I need to cut this one too. 2 banner pieces. Let me give you the dotted line. As usual, you can keep this. This would be a nice little tag for another option, or you could put it on here somewhere else if you wanted to. We also have our thin strips, which are going to adhere down below here. And we always have to double check our sticker strip. Usually they have the stickers on here, and they are adhering these stickers along that striped piece. I'm going to adhere these strips just below the words. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on these pages. It was my birthday, as a lot of you know, like 10 days ago now. I can't believe how fast the days go by. The kids and I went bowling, and then we went to a fondue place, so I might just print those photos and put them on here. The border stickers will have to go on before the strip. So you have a choice here. They show it on top of here. I don't love that. I like this to see the stripes. I think I'm going to adhere mine below. So kind of a 3-layer. I have the words, then the stripes, then the sticker. I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing it straight. I am a little nervous to see my heating bill. I mean, obviously our furnaces are all running all the time. I've had to keep the door closed to my garage warehouse because when the temps are milder, the heater out there is able to kind of keep it the same, but right now it is not, and so it's definitely colder in the garage than it is in here. I'm going to take this 4-inch strip, it's 4.5 inches, and we're going to adhere it. I think they do probably about 1.25 inches off the left edge. I said 1.5 inches on my handout. But this really can be whatever you want. I would do at least 1 inch. That would keep these similar, but I think a little bit more peekaboo. Let me look at that. I'm going to do 1.25 inches from the left edge. And I can hear my banners at the top. I was so proud of Cooper though yesterday. He went to school. He actually was wearing a coat. These teenagers do not wear coats. It doesn't matter the temperature. It doesn't matter what it's doing, but he actually had one on. I was very impressed. They don't like to take him because they don't want to carry him around all day with them. They don't use lockers anymore. Those aren't cool. Yeah, I finished my garage, Stephanie, so it's my warehouse now, and it has a heater installed in the corner. The floor is epoxied. I have a lot of my product out there. It's coming along slowly. Having a retreat this month and Winter Frolic means I can't just spend days out there, but it's coming along. I'm getting there. We're going to adhere this mat a little bit closer to the edge. So you do have to consider if you have, let me find mine. So this would be a good layout to mark your spots. So they are photo spots. If you have the photo placement cards, you grab 2 4x6. When you're adhering, you can. So you can cut additional mats if you want, or just use some photo holders to protect your spacing. If you do want to put these on there, you can use just a dab of adhesive on the back. I usually use Repo. I don't have Repo out, but just one little dab, and then you can pull it up when you actually put the photos on your layout. If your photos later don't work for this size, you could turn these into mats or just use the space as it works for your photos. I can adjust this one over a little bit so I have equal spacing here. And then our little title journal bar at the. If you're not someone who likes to put your mats down before you actually have your photos, then just tuck them all back in the folder with the rest. So pretty basic. That is kit number 1. So to hack this, most of the work is the base layout. So we have a frame here. We have the paper on top, and then we have the strips coming across and then across this way. So when you choose your papers, the one you're going to see the most of is the paper with the balloons. So I am going to attempt to use some photos for my hack. We're going to see how this goes. I don't completely have it planned out yet. But if you remember, you followed me long enough, you know that last May, Jonah redid my deck. And so I have photos from that and flowers from the year. I thought maybe I would use riveting, but I think actually I'm going to use Painted Garden. It goes more with just the outdoorsy vibe. So I pulled out my Painted Garden. So this is where it gets tough. I know a lot of you struggle with choosing paper. And so I usually try to start with, you know, what do I want my main paper to be? Some of these pictures are not very pretty. The ones you're going to see today are the before pictures. So I have a dirty deck that has a lot of brown and some green in the background, a little bit of an orange tone. Most of the pictures look similar to this. I think I wanted to go with a green. The nice thing about Painted Garden is it has some tonal textures. I thought maybe I wanted to use this one, but I think I actually like the darker one better. This is another one when he's getting the pressure washer out. I just almost feel like it's a little bit too similar to that color. So I'm going to go with the darker. Okay, so I chose that one. I need to decide what I want for the frame behind it. They have this light star print. I was thinking about pulling in the purple. When I do get in deeper into the photos, maybe not in this layout, I have my Weigela that has this vibrant purple color. This will probably be on the next set of layouts, which is why I thought I would incorporate that purple from Painted Garden. It doesn't necessarily have to be on this side of the layout, but so that's why I'm considering this ombre paper as the frame. I also like the stripes, but I don't have two of these left. I'd have to open another pack because that would be a really pretty frame. Then there's some more greens. There's a coral color. There's this paper also. I thought if I use this purple in the back, I could use the stripes as one of the papers coming across the page. Either this one or the word one could be stripes. That gives me 3. And then I would have to have a paper for this piece right here. And it could be, or it could be mats. Could be. So my other options, I might choose that option at the end. I could pull in a different green. I have a scrap of this, you know, if I wanted to have coral and the pink. Or I could lean towards yellow. I think there's a yellow. Yeah, there's this yellow too, which could be worked into it. Or I could also bring in some flower print. So I have a couple options pulled out. You don't have to know for sure before you get started. You just have to know for sure what your base paper is going to be. So we're going to start making the frame. You don't have to use the frame. You don't have to frame cut it. I'm going to because I want to preserve inside of that paper. So you will need binder clips. You can do a full sheet of paper and layer on it. You do not have to frame cut it like I said. If this technique is a little bit too much for you, just skip this part. Just use a whole sheet of paper. I do suggest a 1-inch frame. So to set that up, we have this white line on the side of our housing. I'm going to pull that down on the ruler. There's a ruler here so that it stops at the 1. And then I want it to stop at the 11. And then I'm going to line up the side at 1. So you can double check your movement before you actually cut if you want. Does that white line stop and start at 1 inch of the paper? If you are lining your paper up at the bottom, you'll have to be a little bit mindful of the ruler and adjust it. I think it's easier just to go from the top. So I'm going to cut between these. I'm going to turn my paper and do all 4 sides, lining up the right side at 1. We're going to work away all the way around. I think Megan is probably has 2 viral moments in time. One was the jumbo circle and the round concept, and then the binder clips, I think, have changed a lot of our worlds. And so that gives me this whole piece in the middle. It's a 10-inch square that I can use for something else. And I need to cut my second page if you're doing a 2-page layout. I could use these inside pieces for mats or whatever. If you miss, sometimes you don't get it quite all the way to the end. You just grab your scissors. It doesn't really matter that the frame has a clean edge. You could pull it, except I want this to be a clean edge in case I want to use it later. If you are new to the binder clip technique, Megan does have a video on it on her YouTube from several years ago. Now my frames are ready. Now I need my 11-inch squares. If you follow the hack exactly, they have those 1-inch, they weren't 1 inch, they were 3/4 inch strips, the stripes. They could easily be 1-inch strips. So if the back side of this paper works, we can use that because we're cutting these down to 11 inches. I'll have to pull my binder clips off. Someone's asking about the jumbo. If you cut a jumbo circle, she shows how to punch the border punches around the circle, so the design goes around. That's my 11-inch for that one. 11-inch for this one. If the back side of this is a direction, then you want to consider that with your long strips. Your first strip's going to be 12 inches. Your second one's going to be 11. So this gives me my 2 11 inches. Or you could cut these down. We need the 2 longer ones if we're going to use those. Or you could cut different paper. I'll just keep them out here in case. And then the last piece we need to recreate the base papers is a 4-inch strip, 4 by 12. I have 2 choices. I could use the stripes or the flowers. I could remind myself what my pictures are. And I may not see a lot of it either because your pictures are going to run across it. I know it sounds counterintuitive. I think I actually might use the flower paper because these pictures don't have flowers. I'm going to have flowers on the subsequent layouts. So if I use the flower here, I could use the stripes later and not compete with the actual flower pictures. So I need two 4-inch strips. This leaves 4 inches also you could use for mats. This might be a good mat choice. I'll leave that to the top. So let's see where we are so far. We dry fit our pages. This is why I do not separate my paper by color. Some people like to split up their paper packs, store colors together. I like to keep them with a collection because I know that it all works together. And so when I'm doing layouts like this, they all coordinate. The yellow will look nice with these also. You could leave it at that too if you feel like you have enough. The other option too, so that the piece number 3 is 4.5 inches here. Or if the back works, I could just use this 4-inch piece and not worry about cutting something else. So this could be mats or the 4.5-inch strip. I'm gonna look through my papers again. I think I might just use that 4-inch strip because then I can just use cardstock mats. I probably have enough pattern coming into this. I would want something tonal here anyways. You know, I could do the lighter green. I'm just gonna keep the 4-inch. Keep this piece. And then I need a little bit for the banners. So for the banners, this is what I do too. We had this discussion in Winter Frolic. People throw away all the little things. I do not throw them away. I keep them all. Because pieces like this can be the banners. So their banners are 2 inches wide, but they don't need to be. They could be more narrow. They could be whatever you have already cut. You know, here I have dark green. I have this piece, which is the hummingbird paper. That would be cute. The other green, probably a little too yellow. I do have a bigger piece of the stripe. And there's yellow on the back of that. So I have options. I don't even need to cut into more paper. And sometimes you have scraps of big pieces you don't have anymore. So this is why I don't throw anything away, guys. That's why I'm a hoarder. But the project folder makes it very easy to just keep them all in that little folder at the top. I have enough choices there. I'll slide these back in here. And then you can always take a peek at your mats. You know, we have the variety mat pack. Do I have anything I'd want to feature on this page? I just have to just flip through and see what may or may not coordinate that I have left. Or just go with cardstock. That's close if I wanted the plum paper. And sometimes I'll just pull out a few. I mean, I might pull my pictures in here and decide I don't like any of them. These are probably from Page Makers. And then sometimes there's a smaller 4x6. I do need to journal what's going on here. If I don't have one to journal on, I'll just make my own. This one I could journal on. I would write like 2 or 3 lines though. Those lines are so far apart. And then of course the embellishments I'll pull out. On the back side here, I have, there's strips if I didn't like what I had. And then I have the sticker strips. You know, do I want to add the sticker strips like they do? I have these left over. I could incorporate those. Cute little hummingbirds, but I have hummingbird pictures for those. I'll leave these out. And this is how messes begin. Everywhere. Okay, I'm confident with these, so I can tape these down. There are several options for adhering to your frame. You have about 1/2 inch or so. You could use a mini tape runner. You could use repo tape. It's hard to flip it and do it from the back because you can't see the front piece. So I will line this up on my mat. And I am going to look for my mini tape. I still have my old one. I did extend adhesive buffet and the mini tape is included. Fits in our current tape case. My guess is I'll finally run out of the old mini tape this year. We'll see. I want to center this. It's going to be about 1/2 inch from the top, 1/2 inch from the bottom, 1/2 inch from each side. I think I got that a little high. With the mini tape, I think with most tape, if you don't push it very hard, you can still pull it back up like repo. It would actually be more helpful if I could stand up to look over this. Look there. For my big strip, I'm going to go 4.5 inches down from the top. That's 8. Maybe I want a little higher. Yeah. Yeah, I just said down the center on the handout. So that is going to be 4 inches from the top. Here, my 1-inch strip on the hack, this is going to say 3/4 inches because that's what they had, but the 1-inch backside works well. Yeah, Deborah, I found the mini tape runner. I don't have issues with it. The big tape runner that looks like that, I throw them all away. That tape had a bad batch, a bad lot, and it's definitely not worth keeping. But the mini ones have been pretty decent. And then the border strips, I'm thinking I might come along the top. I don't want to put them on the yellow. I don't think I want to put them on the seam. I'm thinking I could just come across here. I'm going to turn this. It's going to be easier for me to see if it's straight. This sticker is nice because it has a little point at the end. So I just have to make sure the points are at the 8 and the 4. Go down the center. That's the first side. Now work on the second side. Yeah, Terry, I know choosing paper is hard for a lot of people. And so I have been trying to verbalize that more, how I choose, how I end up where I'm at. Sometimes we belabor those choices and many things would work. I find that process of elimination usually is a good method for me. I choose one point in it. Maybe I know which print I want, maybe I know which tonal I want, and then you kind of back your way up to choosing all of them. This one's getting kind of sticky. If you do this top with the mini and you want more ability to the page, you could then flip it over and use photo tape or tape chips on the back seams. So half inch, half inch. Around. Painted Garden, I think, is one of the most versatile sets that we've had. Those of you that did summer scrap last year, yeah, these are the same. I'm going to make sure. Same size, so it doesn't matter. I used a lot of it for summer photos. That's one thing I've always appreciated the last few years, at least, is that our spring collections have been really an outdoor summer vibe for me. They go with my outdoor summer photos because they tend to be more about nature. Actual summer collections were a little bit more about summer activities. And so I've always enjoyed the spring sets. And I even sent a suggestion once. I'm like, can you just put a few phrasings in the spring set? Maybe just say hello summer, not just hello spring. It enhances the versatility of them. We'll see if they listen to me when the spring collection comes out. I will get this handout will go up on my blog later today when I get the pictures done to put on the handout. And yeah, if you're participating in Winter Frolic, any page that you get done with photos counts towards your overall number. I got to decide on my tags too, but I needed to hear this. I'm going to do 1 1/4. On some of these days when it's really cold, I don't mind the super cold days because I tell myself it's killing all the bugs. It means it'll be better summer. All this stuff will get a hard, deep frost. We'll see if that holds true. I can decide which colors up here I want to use. I might wait a minute and see how my photos look. So the ugly photos, here they come, my before pictures. Make sure I have these in the right order. I was getting a little stressed before I went on camera because I have all these printed. I know I had them in order, but then I know I'm missing one of them at least. It's this size. So I need to leave a space for this size. They use a mat this way, but I think at this point, just do what works for you on the layout as far as mats and photos. I have the cats, of course, had to come out here and I had to investigate what was going on. Even the house was so bad. The house faces north, so it had that green algae on it. Jonah did the power washing for all of that. I could peekaboo some of these too. I could hide. This one I know looks super ugly, but I liked that I could see my flower pots on there, but maybe I'll peekaboo it below. I could do these three. Missing picture up here, and I could do those. This is kind of opposite. If I did it theirs, it would be like this. If I follow their sketch exactly. Could put this there to remind me that I have a missing photo. Over here. They show photos down here. This is why the 4.5 inch works better for matting your photos. If you did the 4x6 like me and you want photos along here, you would need to trim them down a little bit. My photos, I think, are all going to be horizontal, so I do have this one. I could trim a little bit, or I could just layer it. I kind of took the picture at an angle. I think it's going to look best horizontal. I think that's before he started. I have a brick paver patio too, which I love, but the stuff grows up between it. So he power washed all of that and put down that paver sand. So it's definitely reduced a lot of the weeds that grew up through the summer. So I think that would be good enough for here. I'm going to look at my next. Yeah, the next photos are more after he's power washed it. So this is a good spot to be for this layout. I can flip through my mats. You know, is there anything that I pulled out that I think I want to use? If I'm going to do a peekaboo, I'd either have to cut down my peekaboo with a fuse tool, or I have to mat these on something because these are 4 by 5.3 pictures printed the perfect fit way. I don't know if I love that yellow cardstock, is one of my hesitations. If I do that though, it kind of hides most of the yellow. I could do that one. Maybe I'll stick with those. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've started making a layout and I'm like, wait a minute, I know I have more photos, different photos. Where are those photos? It's the most aggravating part of scrapping. Here's a Hello Spring, which would work on this layout. I could incorporate a sun. There is this little journal box I could use. It's just a little bit of a different green tone than the matte. So I don't love those next to each other. Yeah, I'll probably just make my own journal box. Or I could use, I'll probably make my own. The bees would work if I need a little bit of a corner. Go with that. Okay. Or I also have my stickers I haven't been through. Lots of choices. Okay, I'm going to glue some stuff down now with my photos. I have to decide, do I want to matte these? They don't have gray edges. I think mattes would be appropriate here. I could probably use dark green. See if I can find some dark green. to stick with the 4x6 mat. I could and just cut my photos down slightly. I think that works. I might use this one. 12 inches, so I can do. Now I'm looking to see where I put my photo trimmer. I need to cut my photos down a little bit to sit on the 4x6. I don't need to cut the width. I just need to cut or the length. I need to cut the width. I'm going to cut off 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to cut a little bit more, so it's a little bit closer to even dimensions. So this is going to be, well, let's just see what 4.5 looks like. Yeah, 4.5 is plenty. This one definitely doesn't matter. 4.5, 3.5. This is the Noteworthy Simple Page Kit layout number 1. I probably will flip that up. I have to decide also, because this is a peekaboo, I had to do a green to flip this. Do I want to put a larger mat under it or just pull it up and see what's underneath? Do I want this one to be on a mat also? Usually I do a larger 4.5 by 6.5 mat. Because the peekaboo is a little bit bigger. I don't think I'm going to do it here. I don't want to introduce another color. And then for this set, it's the same thing. It's going to have to go on a 4x6 to flip. I suppose the yellow is fine if I can't see that much of it. It saves me from cutting up something else. I just need to cut these slightly to fit on there. I'm going to cut 1/4 inch off each side to center it. Back side of this, I need this photo. I should probably be teaching a better habit. So like keep your trimmers to the side and not do everything on top of your layout, but just not how I work. I don't usually have enough space beside me. I can make a journal box to fit under here because these vertical spaces aren't going to work. I could cut a journal box and journal under there, or I could hide the cat pictures and put the journal box on top. I do need another 4x6 mat for that. Missing photo. And then over here, I'm trimming my photos down to 3.5 to fit on my mats. I usually cut my photos, put them on the mats, and then adhere the mats. Do any of you adhere the mats and then put the photos on the mats? Kind of backwards to the way I think, but it would work. I might keep this one a little wider. This one does not need to be a peekaboo. I'm just going to put it directly on the yellow. I'm not sure I always cut straight either. If you have trouble cutting straight, it's probably because you're doing what I'm doing also, if you're not on a level surface. And if you have trouble with the trimmer too, there is this little foot out here that you can flip up that will keep the arm straight. If you're using the arm, that can help. I need one more 4x6. I two more. I still need to cut that one, but I'll worry about the photos first. I just cut myself. That's funny. I was just talking at the retreat. I was talking to someone about the trimmer. I was like, well, don't hold it like that. Obviously, I don't know if it was on camera. I hit it like that. I wasn't trying to. I was just moving it. And it did cut a little bit. I don't think it's actually going to bleed enough. I need to stop my layout. I think I'm going to do 1/4 inch off each side. Oh, a little bit more. I used to have a Band-Aid up here. Apparently, I need to keep one handy when I'm on camera. Since I cut myself live. was making a list at my retreat this weekend. It's like, I for real, I need to make just a bag that only goes to retreats so I don't have to think about what to pack. And Band-Aids are on my list, along with some lotion and make sure I have a lip balm in there. I usually have one in my purse, but those hotels, especially in the winter when it's this cold, it is so dry in there. It felt like I was sitting in a desert all weekend. So I was just using lip balm all the time, borrowing hand lotion from people. Just those little things you don't always think about having. So this will be a peekaboo. Then I have my could do this. Washi tape is a Band-Aid. That would be a good idea. If I could find the washi tape. Super glue. It's what they did in the wars, right? A bunch of super glue in there. We're coming to the end of this anyways. You can see kind of how this is going to end up, and then I can choose my banners. Kind of at the end, what colors do I want to pull out? Yellow would definitely work. I have a theme of that. I'm thinking this coral color, the ombre side, I think seems a little bit too bold, but this lighter color, it does play off the flowers accent. Or I have the hummingbird light green, but I think I like that one. So like I said, they were 2x4, but they can be whatever size you want them to be. This is more than 2. This is like 2 by a little bit more than 3. I'm going to cut it down to 2. Cut this one. I have to decide how much ombre do I want. I'm going to go with the lighter side. And then for your banner cuts, because it is 2 inches, you will be able to use the ribbon tag maker if you have it, or you can use scissors. Let me grab mine. This is not available anymore. I don't have it, but if you do have it, it's great for this. Now I just need to glue it all together. I'm going to let you guys contemplate your choices for a minute. I am going to just grab a Band-Aid out of the kitchen. Hold on. Brought back a pile. I will now keep some on my desk for those live emergencies. Just a bad spot. You just move your thumb too much. Okay, now I don't have to worry about it. I keep sucking the blood and then bringing my hand back. Okay, final adhering. My embellishments and my tags. Placeholder for the missing photo. I don't even go to retreats that much. I just host 3 a year, but it is just so annoying to pack it up and think about what to have, and I'm ready to just have a whole nother set stuff. I think I'm gonna actually pull this over a little bit more closer to the edge. I think my photo's on this mat a little crooked, but there we go. We'll go there. This one over here. So when I adhere these, I'm looking along here, I'm looking at the screen, and I'm looking here at this edge. So I'm just trying to make sure I have even spacing from these 2 points. And this one will sit down here, but it's going to have, if you could have something else under it, because I have 2 photos there. I probably dig through and find a 3rd photo to hide. And then my banners, you can decide which way you want to overlap them. I'm glad I was able to get a little bit of the stripes on here. Make sure I have it even along the top. I could even put the Hello Spring up there. That would fit nicely. I could even use foam squares. I don't have any of those thin ones over here, but we got thin ones from our most recent adhesive buffet that aren't as tall. Maybe I'll shift it actually down slightly to the left with the little bee just barely overlapping. These pieces I talked about, I'll keep. I probably will try to work them into the next layout. Another bee, another sun. Or I could just leave it kind of simple. If I want to have a title, I could pull this one up. Sun doesn't leave a lot of space. Or I could just do a title and then put the little bee around the corner. I could just put staining the deck. Or refinishing the deck. Refinishing, that's a lot of letters. Stripping the deck. Maybe I do stripping the deck. Maybe I'll skip the sun and then I'll do a title probably with the mini white sans serif ABC will fit right there. And the little bee on the accent corner. So that is my hack for Simple Kit number 1. This was the original. And here is my hack. So pretty similar, actually. I had pretty similar photo sizes. So that will work out well. And that probably means on some of the next layouts, you will see probably more of the deck pictures. Maybe we'll just do the series through the hacks of these kits will work. So, thank you for joining me. I will get the handout done. I'll get these pictures taken, put them on the handout, and then that will go on my blog sometime tonight. And along with the YouTube video. So you can catch it back on the replay if you make it. If you do want to share your layout, I would love to see it. Use the Scrapbooking Ideas and Inspiration group. Just post it and you can do Simple Page Kit #1 or whatever you want to do it. And then I am going to go ahead and move forward with hacking Kit 2 and Kit 3. And we're pretty close to February anyway, so I think we'll be seeing Kit #2 launch if you missed the bundle. And then 3, I'll do 3 a little bit later in February. We get a little bit closer to March. So hopefully you will get all these handouts printed and make your own binder because they would be good hacks. What I would do on what's in my binder is I have a binder and then I use the paper protectors. And so one side is the handout from the kit and the other side is my handout. And so that's how I have them in my folder too as I flip through for that one. So then when you're looking for an easy layout idea, you could just grab that. Okay, I think in other news, that's about it. We're doing Winter Frolic. It is not too late to join us if you haven't yet. We are week #3, and tomorrow I will be doing the throwback once I figure out which one I'm going to do. And I will probably do a Facebook Live for that one rather than filming a video for this time. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow if you are in our Winter Frolic group. Otherwise, stay tuned to the Facebook events and I'll let you know when Simply Scrappy #2 is. I think I will probably have to skip a week. I really need to get control of my house. You know how it is when I go to retreat, everything came back. I paid Jonah to haul it off for me, which was amazing and worth every penny, but then he just comes and puts it all in the living room, which is great, but I just had to put it all away. So I'm thinking we'll probably be back February 5th for Simple Page Kit hack #2. So thanks for all joining me. I'll catch you all later. Bye.